Number one.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, make sure to join us tomorrow. We'll be live at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3 down in West Jordan. Make sure to give Tim and the crew a holler. They can help you out if you're dealing with anything on the exterior of your home, especially now that the snow's coming. You need those rain gutters replaced or repaired. They've got your back. All right. Joining us now, the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him, you wish you were him. It's Ian Fitzsimmons, ESPN. Ian, how you doing, my brother?
Well, first of all, nobody damn sure wishes they were me. But you mentioned snow, man. I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Let's go, dude. I miss the Wasatch Front. Ain't nothing better than a white Christmas. And I promise you, we don't get those very often down here in Dallas, Texas. How we doing, man? What we got?
Well, our guy Hans is dealing with, he's in Hawaii right now, speaking of sun and no snow.
Of course he is.
And we're dealing with some, he was with us for the first hour of the show. We got some technical issues, so we're going to try to get back him on the line.
Hold on. Let's go ahead and call that out, right?
Yeah.
Technical issues meaning the beach.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
It means Mama's saying, hey, it's time to go get some beach time. And he's like,
exactly
all right.
Right.
Okay, well, we can do that. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my connection just died. The Comrex isn't working. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm out. Hey, all right. So the committee. Wow.
All right, let me just start with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, I guess it's play like a champion today and then quit like a champion tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are we doing, man? I thought Clark Lee at Vanderbilt showed you the right way and the classy way to have a hell of a year, and then you have a committee of humans, which obviously Scotty will touch on in a moment. It says, you know what? Sorry, you're not one of the top 12. And this committee made it very clear this was not about the best teams in college football. They went most deserving, and which drives me absolutely insane because James Madison is not one of the best teams in college football. Tulane is not one of the best teams in college football. One of them, you put Tulane in, and we'll watch the massacre again against Ole Miss. We've seen it once, and we'll see it again. 45-17, Scotty, is not a close contest.
Nope.
Obviously. So if we're thinking that it's going to be closer, sure, right? But damn, but Tulane was higher ranked. James Madison, on the other hand, not one of the best teams in college football. They're a 21-point underdog to Oregon. Does Notre Dame deserve to be in? No. Are they one of the best teams? Yes. And that's the problem right there, where we have the previous committees have said we're about the best teams. And every year, and I've served on that on the mock committee not once but twice. Both years I served, it was different. It was one year it was the best team, where Peter Burns and I didn't speak for a month and a half. He's one of my best friends because he was sitting next to me and we disagreed. You don't want Baylor TCU, the very first group of 4 team, right? Meaning when we had it was only a 4-team playoff, not a 12-team playoff. And it came down to, well, you met head-to-head, but who's the better team? I swear to God, Scotty, I'm not making this up, man.
Wow.
We did not talk for like a month and a half, 2 months. Then the next time I served on it, it was more about that committee, that brand, those opinions of the second committee were more about deserving. And I don't give a damn about deserving. My dogs agree. You hear that? There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Scotty. Hey, hush, it's Scotty. All right, you're good. My point is, and oh my gosh, Amazon must be at the front door.
Uh-oh.
I guarantee it. So deal with this. Sorry, Salt Lake.
Yeah, you're fine. You're all good. No worries.
Bottom line is, man, this committee was more about deserving over best, and I completely disagree with it. Give me every single year. Give me the best 12 teams, and guess what's going to happen? I promise you, having not talked to not one but 2 Power 4 commissioners, I can promise you, Scotty, we are going to 16 teams next year. So we just danced with 12 last year. Now we're going to make out with her this year. And guess what? We're going to dump her and move on to 16 teams and a whole nother, couple coming in next season. I promise you that is going to happen because of Notre Dame and BYU. BYU did not deserve to be punished for playing an extra game against a top 5 team. They didn't deserve it. They are one of the best teams. Put them on the field, Scotty.
Oh, yeah.
James Madison, BYU.
Oh, yeah. Enough said.
I mean, James Madison is an 18-point favorite in that game. Excuse me, BYU is.
Yep.
An 18-point favorite over James Madison. It's not about the best anymore. It's about deserving, and we have to figure out a way just to get best in. So whether we do away with automatic qualifiers, or you go with the P4s, you're in Duke, you're in whatever. But after that, it's the 11 best teams, not the most deserving, but best. And that's what I'm looking for. Sorry.
So,
maybe I'm wrong, but that's my opinion.
So I am curious. I did the NCAA tournament mock selection thing about 10 years ago. And by the way, me and Andy Staples got after each other on that one. But
it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It gets heated in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Very much. But Gene Smith was the Ohio State athletic director. He was the chairman at the time, and he gave us very clear directions on what we need to be looking for in our teams. When you were a part of it, did they give you direction of, okay, we want the 12, or at that point, I guess the four best teams, period, or was it up for you guys to interpret it? You talked about 2 different directions you guys went. Was that because the committee leaned that way, or were you given instructions by leadership saying, this is what we want?
No, and Scotty, that's a great question. It was the same message both times. It was just 2 different opinions in the room.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was, hey, we're looking for the best teams in college football. Okay. And then I did it 2 years later. We're looking for the best teams in college football. It was the opinion in the room that changed. So that's my point. Every committee is different. And this committee, which stuns me, I mean, and I have not talked to him yet, and I feel like calling a couple coaches like Mark D'Antonio, who I know very well, and just to say, hey, what'd you think? Just to get his thoughts, I mean, because I guarantee you, some of the coaches and a player in that room who have swapped paint before are going, man, what are we doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This ain't right. This is not right. This is about rewarding someone for it's like a participation trophy for your freaking kids in this day and age, which it drives me insane. When my kids were growing up, man, and now they're older. My older daughter is a sophomore at Oregon. My youngest daughter is about to be a senior in high school. But when 4 or 5 years ago, man, you're running track and for participating you get a medal. Oh hell no, you don't get a damn medal. Are you kidding me? I was never more proud of my older daughter Rowan when she finished like 7th in some swim meet, and they're trying to give her a medal or this small trophy. She's like, I finished 7th out of 12. Are you kidding me? No, I don't want that damn thing.
Oh, that's a proud dad moment right there. Yeah.
Oh, you damn Skippy, Scotty. That's what it felt like. We're giving out participation trophies and not rewarding the best teams in college football.
Yeah. So when you look at Alabama, I think should have been in. I agree with that. But the problem,
100%.
But the problem is that Alabama didn't feel like they were punished for their championship game, where BYU was.
Yeah, and I talked to Kalen DeBoer, head coach at Alabama, yesterday on ESPN Radio, and he kind of emphasized that very thing. Now, look, nobody, and I do mean nobody, has the resume of top 25 wins by the committee's standard. Nobody has more than Alabama.
Yeah.
They went 4 straight weeks. And, Scotty, you cover the game. You call games for Utah State, which, by the way, congrats to Bronco Mendenhall and the boys for, making a bowl game. I mean, that's awesome and a program builder. But when it comes to, just that stretch run man, find me somebody that had a harder month of college football in the 2025 campaign than Alabama did.
Yeah.
And they came out win. Their first game of the season, which counts. I mean, because that's Miami, Notre Dame. And that's where the committee screwed up. We'll touch on that in a moment. Because in my opinion, they should have had Miami over Notre Dame from the get-go, from the very first rankings. But for some reason, they didn't, and I don't understand why. But you find this, to me, was not about Alabama. Alabama is one of the best teams in college football. And against Georgia, they were down not just 8 starters, including their star running back in Jam Miller, but also 6 backups. And they beat the team that they lost to in the SEC championship game at Georgia.
Yeah.
This was a neutral site, right? So, you factor that in, and then let's go to BYU. BYU loses to the same team twice in the season, which is now a top 5 team and by the committee standards. Why is BYU punished?
Yeah.
The whole thing makes absolutely zero sense, Scotty. Zero. But we're going to go ahead and reward James Madison. And I'm not trying to take shots here, man, but give me the best teams out there. And if you line up BYU, hell, if you lined up Utah, if you lined up Texas, right, against James Madison, who do you think's winning that football game?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And look, I like, because look, I call games for a G5 school, so I'm going to be a little bit partial. And I love the fact that they get that auto bid, but that's it. That's where it needs to come to an end, right? You get one, and then that's it. And so, yeah, Tulane, you get it, and then everybody else like, okay, no, ain't happening. I'm just glad Duke didn't get into the party, that's for sure. They sure screwed over everybody.
Well, and that's another one. And I did that game, and Duke was by far the better team that night against UVA.
Yeah.
But that's the ACC's fault for having the tiebreaker where they have it. Like the American Conference, it's the top 2 ranked teams by the College Football Playoff Committee's rankings. Oh, my God. It's so simple, Scotty.
Yeah.
Holy hell. Right? There you go. So it's North Texas, it's Tulane, and Tulane's in. The ACC tried to get creative. And, all right, we're going to go with this unbelievable tiebreaker. No, it should have been UVA and Miami. And Miami wins the game. Guess what? Miami's in, and now you have the other at-large that's available.
Yeah.
And then you can put in, if you want, Notre Dame. But I also want to go off on this. Notre Dame. You're going to blame the ACC? Are you kidding? You're in bed with them for 24 of 25 sports. The one you aren't is what cost you from being in the college football playoff. So, Pete, hey, man, and I want to call him baklava, right?
Yeah.
Because it's I don't understand where you're coming from. You're going to blame the ACC for politicking for their team. And you're going to go and say, well, but we're in bed with them and we have a relationship in 24 other sports. Well, you know what, partner? You got burned.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're not in bed with them for the most important one. And if you're not in a P4 conference, sorry to damn hear about it. You got burned.
Ian, we appreciate it as always, man. You're the best. Thanks for hanging out with us.
We didn't even get into Christmas. Nothing.
I know.
This was so serious, Scotty.
I know the doorbell's ringing, so it sounds like the connection to Amazon's hooked up in a big, big way at the Fitzsimmons house.
Let me tell you, between my mom and my wife, Amazon shows up here every half hour on the hour. It's insane. Why is that when you're on the road also? Even during the holiday season, your entire family might leave and boxes still show up.
Oh, yeah.
How is that possible?
I have no idea, but I will say that between the neighbor and ourselves, the Amazon driver is like another member of our household. We're like first name basis. We know who their kids are. We've been to their soccer games. Like he's a member of the family.
We've been to their soccer games.
Yeah.
Hey, is it snowing? Is it? Just tell me.
Actually, no. It's not bad. It's like 45, 46. We're actually pretty low on the snow. 52, Lloyd says right now. 52
All
outside.
right. Well, I'll be out there in March. I'll call you when I get there.
Let's do it, man.
Let's go have a dump and have a blast.
Let's go.
Man, but, hey, look. Bottom line is, man, let's give us the best teams from now on.
Yes.
And BYU should be in because you know how I feel about the Fighting Satakis. They deserve to be in, and they are one of the best teams. That's why they deserve to be in college football.
No doubt. You're the man, Ian. Thanks, buddy.
All right, bro. See you.
There he is, Ian Fitzsimmons, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone from ESPN. He's right. He's right. Everything he's complaining about, spot on. The committee, done screwed up. And there's guys that I have respect for. And I don't know how much Mark Harlan will talk about his time on that committee. I don't know what the rules are. But I got to imagine there were people on that committee that are looking around and like, what are we doing? What? I don't want my name attached to this thing. I don't want to go out and say I was a part of this committee because we screwed up. We absolutely screwed this thing up. Right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, it's time to give away some Jazz tickets. Let's do it.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, caller number 12 right now. If you want those tickets, 801-575-ZONE. You win a pair of tickets. See the Jazz and the Lakers coming up on Thursday, December 18th at the Delta Center. All right, one of my favorite dudes on the planet, Casey Smurthwaite, kind enough to join us. He is a consultant. He is a writer. There's not a lot you don't have your fingers in right now. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing great, Scotty. How are you?
I'm good. All right. So one thing that I've always gone to you for is information on the business of college athletics. And so when this whole thing with the private equity hit, I was saying, who can I talk? I'm like, I got to talk to Casey. Casey will know what's going on. So the old line from The Office, explain this to me like I'm 5. What does this mean? And is this a landslide of deals that are about to start now across college football that now one person did it, now everybody's probably going to do it?
Well, absolutely, that's going to happen. And again, thanks for having me on, Scotty. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and our listeners. I think the big thing is going back to The Office. We're not talking about are we going to get a new copier or new chairs. We're talking about there's a little bit more inventory to be had here. We're talking about $500 million worth. And now, is that all going to come out all at once? No, it's not. But something that Michael Scott would love to hear is it's like mommy and daddy with Oscar. Mommy and daddy are running a lemonade stand, and you've got to make money. And at the end of the day, they're creating a third party or a special purpose vehicle, or in other words, an LLC that's going to drive revenue and going to make University of Utah athletics more competitive and have more access, more inventory, and leverage and protect their assets that are like season tickets or sponsorship spots or ticketing, licensing, trademark. All of that to be said, they're creating this third-party element that's not that's for-profit, that's not a non-profit, that the University of Utah Athletics technically resides in, because University of Utah is a 501c3 nonprofit. But at the end of the day, at the 5th grade level here, the University of Utah is about to get a lot of cash that a lot of people are going to be jealous of, and you're going to see the floodgates open of multiple collegiate athletic departments who have already had similar conversations. You might have noted earlier today, Mark Harlan mentioned that these conversations have been going on for a year. They are not the only school. But what the nice and big interesting part here is, University of Utah is going to be number one. They're going to be pointed to that they broke the floodgates open.
So there's been talks in terms of private equity in conferences. Could this also, does this preclude Utah from being involved in the Big 12 private equity, or is that a separate deal all by itself?
It's a separate deal all by itself because the Big 12 owns their rights and entities. The Big 12 can't come in and say, hey, University of Utah, you need to operate X, Y, and Z. Now, they can make suggestions. the way some of the game operations happen, absolutely. This does not impact anything that Brett Yormark does at the Big 12 level. What this does impact, if anything, is the recent deal that was struck last year with JMI Sports, which contract goes
I was going to ask you about that.
2034. Yep,
Yeah.
2034. Now, I'm looking at the contract right now. It's pulled up, and, behind the scenes, Scotty, I'll make sure you get that contract. But 2028, there is an opt-out. That is an opt-out date. They also have an opt-out date at 2030. I have a very strong suspicion because everything that this private equity, private capital deal, there's threads of both in it, coincide along with JMI Sports. They are doing and saying the same things, even down to trademarks and licensing up to naming rights for stadiums. I think that's where the biggest impact is going to be is how does this look and how does this impact their 10-year deal they just signed worth hundreds of millions for this deal with Otro Capital.
So those companies like Learfield and JMI, they're the ones that could really feel the brunt of this?
Absolutely. And this is one thing that I think everybody needs to sit back and take a big, deep breath. All right. This isn't the end of the world. These conversations have been going on. Third-party money has been in the industry since the 80s with Learfield, Pacquiolin, Van Wagner, JMI Sports. Money's been there. Now, what this does is this is an influx on steroids. This is going Mach 4. This is a big amount of money that is brand new, and everybody's going to start to ask questions. Now, Mark Harlan and his team, they're talking about how this is going to benefit all of the student-athlete experience. Well, yeah, I think it's going to be focused on men's basketball and football that are, quote-unquote, the revenue drivers. But I think you're going to kind of have that snowball effect that, yeah, there's going to be some money thrown down to other sports because there's so much money to be made and leveraged in this deal. So I'm very curious to see how it impacts other sports. I think it's a signal to what's to come here in the next 5, 7, 10 years. There's going to be a breakaway. There's going to be a super league because there is so much money to be had and made in just those two sports that it no longer fits the profile within the NCAA.
So when you read a news story about something involved with private equity, usually it's never a positive thing. Whether it's a newspaper being gutted by private equity or a restaurant or whatever they might be involved in, there is somewhat of a bad rap when it comes to private equity. And whenever you see large amounts of money, it usually comes with some high level of accountability. What is the University of Utah on the hook for in terms of how much are you letting the fox in the hen house, if you will, in terms of this contract?
Well, that remains to be seen. But I will say this, that private equity, private capital, like I said earlier, has been around since the 80s. But you are now taking private funds, private capital, industry folks who've been in the industry for 30, 40 years and plus, now bringing in kind of that New York Wall Street mentality.
Yeah.
They're going to come in and they are going to say, hey, you know what? Do we really need X, Y, and Z? Do we really need to leave a day or two before the football game? Or can we maximize our profit and be okay with just leaving 12 hours beforehand? Especially, you know what? Let's look at softball. Technically, you can play a maximum of 56 games, but only 38 of them are counted for the minimum of the NCAA requirements. Does this impact some of the day-to-day decision-making to maximize the ROI? There are a lot of questions to be answered. This is being displayed and promoted as a no-risk solution for the University of Utah athletics. Now, I've had the privilege of sitting in on some of these private equity calls and pitches from some of these entities. What they basically say is, we are going to bet on ourselves. We're going to give you the money, but we're going to be the boots on the ground that are going to help augment your current staff, your current day-to-day activities, and then we're going to take that revenue share, or we're going to take shares, phantom shares, so what, or whatever they're going to be called, and then we're going to do a revenue split. They're banking and betting on themselves that the no risk is really the risk on Otro Capital. But both you and I know, and anybody with a pulse, or anybody who's bought paper from Dunder Mifflin or Sabre products, they know there's going to be changes that are going to come forth because of this.
And some of those changes may not be overly comfortable, for sure. I mean, there's going to be some hard conversations. When you let somebody come in with that kind of money, they've earned their way and they've bought their way to have a say in the daily operations, and that's exactly what's going to go on behind the scenes here.
No, and then behind the scenes, there's going to be a lot more that are going to come that are going to impact, your BYUs, your Utah States of the world, because there's private equity. You're probably even seeing, EA Sports right now, going and venturing across the pond to get, Saudi money. When you have men's basketball video game that's going to be coming online here, made by 2K Sports, Utah State fans aren't probably going to be very happy because in the next 2 or 3 years when that game comes online, there's a high likelihood, and I would bet a lot of money on it, that Utah State men's basketball is not in the video game because they're focusing on the top 60 to top 70 schools. Now, yeah, you can look at the net ranking, and now we're really going down the rabbit hole talking video games here. But I think it's all to be said that there are changes and discussions happening with a few select schools and companies that are going to drive decisions for the NCAA.
Overall, do you feel like this is a net positive for the sport and the net positive for the University of Utah?
This is going to be very unpopular. I think something needs to be done. And I think that I am cautiously optimistic because I think that there needs to be changes in the NCAA landscape. There needs to be changes at the academic and athletic levels. What works in the softball world or in the volleyball world does not work for football and men's basketball. I think this bifurcates more between those sports, those haves and have-nots. And I think that needs to be done because we need to get to a place where the decisions of men's basketball and football programs aren't impacting the 90% of the other student athletes and the institution.
Casey Smurthwaite, kind enough to join us. Consultant, also writes for you're doing some stuff for Extra Points too, correct?
I am. Matt Brown and Extra Points, helping analyze the sports business of collegiate athletics.
So when you've got a private equity firm that has maybe a little bit of background, I saw your tweet earlier today, the owner's got a little bit of sports background, but they're business guys, and that's ultimately what it boils down to. They're here to run a business. Do you think the quality of your athletic programs will benefit in the long term from this?
No, I don't. I think you're going to see a little bit more of an emphasis on the ROI. Some of those aspects that aren't making money are going to be taken away, even though they might be popular. I like to use the example of the game programs. And Scotty, covering Utah State, you probably have fans who wish they had that manual, that game program in hand, and now everything's going digital because it's cheaper, it's more cost effective. That on a bigger scale. How going back to the softball schedule, you really only need 38, 40 games that are required. What are you going to do with those other 18 games? And the same thing goes for baseball. There's a lot more of a let's meet a minimum versus focusing on the maximum. And I think some of those decisions are going to impact it. Now, at the end of the day, I think it forces some of these tough conversations between an athletics department and an academic campus institution because they are not the same. And at the end of the day, athletics could be cut at any institution tomorrow, and the university and the academic mission continues. And it's not vice versa. However, when you start to have some of this money that's being thrown around, it actually enables and it gives an avenue for a breakaway. And then you start to be able to understand the full scope of how collegiate athletics are ran. Hey, if this truly is a business or a for-profit entity, we need to be operating that way. We need to look at things and make decisions in our own grand scheme of things versus trying to get permission from somebody on campus who might have been cut from, t-ball or got kicked in the face with a soccer ball. Because that happens.
Yeah.
And that's one it happens on the daily, from licensing, trying to get a logo approved, to, an event space being used instead of a concert happening. The men's basketball program wants to have a game that night. Well, you're going to default to the university in that aspect. So these are some of the money and the decisions that have to be made and conversations that are going to happen that are going to help truly, finalize what the mission of the university and what the mission of the athletics department is.
Casey, you're the man. We appreciate it. And throw out the old Twitter handle to make sure everybody can follow you because you got great information on your Twitter account.
Oh, I appreciate it. Well, it's assistant to the regional manager. No, it's actually at Casey Smurthwaite. And that's a K as in King, C as in Charlie, and hit S, and you're probably going to find me. If not, I have a feeling Scotty G is going to throw out my Twitter handle for the world to see, and we can go from there.
No pressure there. Nice. I like it. Hey, Casey, you're the best, man. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Scotty.
Casey Smurthwaite, I've known him for a long, long time. Really smart dude when it comes to the business side of collegiate athletics. All right, Hans and Scotty, remember Bill Armstrong's going to join us, general manager of the Utah Mammoth, coming up in about 12 minutes from right now. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.